Residents of Montana in Tshwane having to spend the night elsewhere after a tornado ripped through the residential area. Multiple buildings, homes and vehicles have been damaged. The South African Weather Service has issued a level 5 warning for disruptive rains across Gauteng for much of this week. Roofs were blown off, trees uprooted and homes completely flooded as the storm ripped through the area in the north of Pretoria last night. Emergency services and disaster management teams have evacuated some of the affected residents. No injuries, we're told, have been reported. Let's get you more on this and bring in now the acting spokesperson for the City of Tshwane's Emergency Management Services. That's Lindsay Mnguni, who joins us via our video link. Great to have you on the program, sir. Thanks for your time and your patience. Let me just get a sense of whether or not, since this news emerged, if you've heard of any casualties in the wake of the storm.
Good morning, sir. No casualties at this stage have been reported.
All right. Speak to us about the extent of the damage. We've been able to see anecdotally through the help of social media and people posting their own homes how bad it was. But what's your assessment?
Thank you and good morning to all your listeners and viewers at home. As the City of Tshwane Emergency Services Department, we've been monitoring the weather since Sunday, beginning of this week, when the South African Weather Service issued warnings about the rainfall that is persistent. At this stage, we are currently on the orange level, number 6, which is quite bad because it is then, flooding in many areas in the city, and we are monitoring all the low-lying bridges, the streams around the city, the rivers around the city. Yesterday we had an incident where a tornado damaged some residents there in Montana, as I issued the statement last night.
Yes, and I'm trying to get a sense of how bad the damage has been from that storm, sir.
Yeah, then the area of Montana along the Sifako-Makgatho Drive, it was extensive damage. Trees were uprooted, like you mentioned before. Some cars, because that area is a motor industry where people sell cars. It's a motor trade industry. So some of the cars were damaged, and police were there to, register the cars, so that people can open cases and claim from insurances where applicable. But luckily there were no injuries, and the unit or the complex that was involved lost the roofs in some of the buildings, but it was only the top floors that were affected. So we evacuated a few families, but most of the families left on their own and sought shelter in the nearby friends and families.
Sure. Do you have a sense, Lindsay, of how many people might have been affected by this, even if it's just a rough estimate?
About 15 people were mentioned by the assessment teams on the ground. Only a few families.
50.
15.
15. Okay. All right. I see. All right. And, for many people around the country who are watching this, they may not necessarily be aware of the type of place Montana is. You've already described to us that it's a motor area that deals in that kind of business. But is it prone to this kind of weather event? I mean, has something like this ever happened before there?
Yeah, look, it happens once in a while around that area. I've been looking at the statistics last night, and it's something that is like periodic, but it's a very built-up area, so we are just attributing it to acts of God. Around the city, we are having floods in Mamelodi, in Soshanguve, Hammanskraal, Centurion along the Hennops River, in town along the Upper River, and most of the bridges that are low-lying and have been overflown by the water, we have closed them with the help of the Tshwane Metropolis Department.
All right. Lindsay Mnguni, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Appreciate the time on the SABC. Lindsay is the acting spokesperson for the City of Tshwane's Emergency Management Services, a developing story without a doubt that we'll keep watching for you throughout the course of the day.